Hi everyone, welcome to Vishwa Blooms. If you haven't subscribed to Vishwa Blooms, subscribe now to get all our latest updates and all our notifications. So today's topic is chapter 1, that is crop production and management of biology. Okay, class 8. So in this chapter, first what we are going to discuss, we will see. First we will discuss crop. What is a crop? Because that is only the major topic we have. And agriculture also we'll discuss what is agriculture also. Then we will discuss agricultural practices, so there are many types of practices under it, so we will discuss all those things. Okay, so we are going to discuss crop types of crop is also there in that, so that also we will discuss everything detailedly. We are going to discuss in this chapter crop production and management. So let's get started into the lesson. Yes, here we have the crop and types of crops. First we should discuss what is a crop. Crop: plants of same kind that are grown and cultivated as source of food in large cultivatable land is called as a crop. So he has given the definition here, what is a crop. Okay, this is the notes, like you can copy down the points also, it is very useful. Plants of same kind are that are grown and cultivated as source of food is in a large cultivatable land, or we can say on a large scale, we can say that also, on large scale. Or large cultivatable land. Next we have types of crops. Crops are on basis they are divided into two. First one is rabi crops and second one is kharif crops. Rabi and kharif. So I have written the spellings also, you can just go through. And now we have to discuss what is rabi and kharif crops. Crops which are grown in the winter season, that is from October to March, are called as rabi crops, and the crops which are sown in rainy season is called as kharif crops. That is, for when is rainy season? July to October. This they have given information about rabi crops. No, that is when they are sown. Here it is grown. So there is some difference, right? Yes. Now we have discussed the what is crop and types of crops. Now we have to discuss about the agricultural practices. So now first we have to discuss the histories. There is some history for agriculture also. So now we will discuss the history of agriculture. So till 10,000s BC. 1 second. 10,000 BC is what happened? People were nomadic. Nomadic is nothing but, you have studied in the social also, that nomadic means like they will not be stable in one place. Now you will be in your house only, you won't, constantly you won't go, at least for a year, something 6 months you will be there only. But nomadic is nothing but they will be roaming only, they won't be stable in one place. Okay, they were wandering in groups from place to place in search of food and shelter. These nomadic people, actually they just search for nomadic, we are discussing. And one more thing, they move in groups, they won't go single or double, move groups. For what? They will search for food and shelter, majorly through food and shelter. Clear? Okay. They ate raw fruits and vegetables and started hunting animals also. We know that they hunted animals, they ate raw fruits and vegetables. Later, they could cultivate land and produce rice and food crops and other. Then agriculture was born. So then after that, they are producing some rice, wheat and other crops. Then agriculture, the word agriculture was born. I mean, this work agriculture was born. So this was the history of agriculture. Then we had to study the definition of crop. We have studied just now, and also we have studied the types. Like we had no kharif crops and rabi crops. We have studied that till now. Now we are going to study the agricultural practices as I have told you. Agricultural practices. Once again. So agricultural practices. Totally there are 7 agricultural practices we have to study in this chapter. I mean in this agricultural practices part. So let's get started one after the another. First we'll learn what are the 7 names. First one is preparation of soil. What is it? Preparation. Then after every name I will just say what is that. Preparation of soil. Okay, after now let's look at what is preparation of soil. Okay, why are they doing this part, this first step? Why are they doing this? So let's look at all those things now. So now, what is preparation of soil? Preparation of soil is the first and foremost step. Why are we doing this before growing crop only? Because it is important task in agriculture. See, first of all, this preparation of soil is an important task. It is an important task in agriculture. Okay, why we have to do that is we should first, before growing any crop, we should turn the soil and we should loosen the soil every time, loosening the soil. So why we are loosening also, we have the reason in this chapter. So loosening the soil is these are the 2 important major tasks. Okay, we should loosen the uh, soil, because when you grow, then when they put some crop in the field, then what happens, the roots whatever are there for the roots of the crop, what happens, it penetrates very deeply. Okay, let's look at the side view of it. Say here is one crop, then its root can penetrate deep into the soil. So we are loosening because the roots can penetrate. Okay, for penetration only we are loosening the soil. So this is the reason, loosening. Okay, that's why we are doing this. And also this loosening helps this plant, whatever is there, it helps it to breathe properly. That is, breathe is nothing but you are thinking we are breathing like that. Yes, as you know, plant is also a living organism, so it has to breathe, right? It will take CO2 and it will give O2, that is carbon dioxide and oxygen. I have written in short forms. Okay, so that is also breathing only, right? We are breathing oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide. Okay, so that is, we are calling that as breathing. Then why don't you call this as breathing? So loosening helps to breathe also. Okay, that is one more reason. So that was that. Now the loosened soil helps in the growth of earthworms. You know, right? Earthworms are called as father's friends. So when you loosen more, earthworms will be appearing. Like when if you loosen your field more, earthworms will be there. So it will help, right? It will help. Earthworm and microbe present in the soil, they will help in the growth of the particular plant or crop. Okay, that's why we are just doing this loosening process. So why we should loosen? This question answer is over. One more thing, why are we not deeply loosening is only see the layers we have studied in 7th, I think. Yeah, this is the top layer and they are layers, right? Only the first top layer only allows the plants to grow, you know, right? If you don't know also, let's recollect. The roots also will be only in the top soil, because other these all will not allow it to grow also. So only the top layer is suitable for growing your crops or plants. So that's why they will just level up, I mean low. So this process is also called as, this preparation of soil is called as, what is that? Loosening and turning of soil is called as plowing. One more name of plowing is tilling. Okay, it can be called as plowing or tilling. Now we shall look at the leveling also. Okay, before looking that, we have one more point. Plowing is done by an instrument called plow. You might have heard this name or you might have seen also sometimes. Now, leveling also we need. And sometimes before plowing, we need to water sometimes if the soil is too dry. We can't do that. Okay, now after plowing, they may have some like crumbs. Some soil will be good only, but some crumbs will be there, obviously. So big clumps kind of thing. Those are called as crumbs. Big clumps. CLUMPS. So big clumps are called as crumbs. CRUMBS. So big clumps are called as crumbs. Here, hope you got a clear picture of it. So breaking of these clumps is very important. You should break them, obviously. Breaking of clumps. CRUMBS. So we should break the crumbs. Then only it will be good. Beneficial. It will be beneficial for the agriculture, or else it's waste only. Now if it is there, again proper crop won't be there, again they will get loss only. So that process is called as breaking the crumbs and making it useful is called as leveling. This is done by a leveler. Leveller. Leveler. So this is done, leveling is done by leveler. Clear? So this is about leveling. And you need to have some agricultural implements also. But before knowing that, sometimes before tilling or plowing, they add some manure, it seems. Okay, before tilling, they add some manure, like cow dung or something. You know, right? Cow dung they will add. So that they will add. Okay, for proper mixing of manure with soil, this will help it. And the soil will be moistened before sowing also. Clear. Now we shall look at the agricultural implements. So what is this agricultural implements? Implements. That means what are all the instruments used for plowing and plowing we are going to look at. And there are some implements changed, right? That time on whatever the technology we have, that time it may not be there. No. So we are having so many improvements and all. We are doing that. before it is not the, it is there or not, we don't know. So we are going to recollect that also. Okay, let's get started. So this is some information about plow. Plow is a device that is used by farmers for purposes such as adding fertilizers, tilling, loosening of soil. I have told you this point before only. And not only hoe we have one more instrument called, not only a plow, we have one more instrument called hoe. Hoe. That also I will discuss with you very detailedly. So these are all the parts. Once open page number 3 in your textbook, or you can have some PDFs from outside. Open page number 3 and look at the bottom right bottom of it. You will get the clear picture of what is a plow and how is it look like. I can say the figure name, that is figure 1.1a. 1.1a. So presently I don't have an image of a plow, so you can go to page number 3 and check out for figure 1.1a. So this is the uses of plow. Now let's look at the hoe. So this is the hoe. Hoe image is already here, you can see. Hoe is a tool that is used to dig up soil and remove weeds and loosen it for soil before sapling. It is almost like plow only, but it is very different. And here hoe is different. In your textbook it is little bit modified. That is, I can say page number 4, figure 1.1b. You can look, it is in the top left. Okay, you can have a look over it. Now modern plowing methods you have here. Cultivator, this is the modern I can say it is machine we are using. This is attached to a tractor. That is 1.1c image. It is same, you can have a look over it. It is also just below the hoe. Okay, 1.1c, page number 4. It is attached to the tractor and helps in loosening of the soil. Cultivators are also used instead of plow since they are more faster to get things done faster. Clear? So this is about hoe and plow. Now we are going to look at the sowing part. Here we have sowing, process of planting seeds into the soil. Like you have a field, it is already plowed, right? One putting the seeds into it manually or using some, there are some machines, because manually if you put, there should be some gap between it, right? Obviously, because if all are clumsily like this, look at your left, I'm drawing. If all seeds are kept like this in this manner, if they are thrown, it will be like this only. Obviously it won't be in particular order. If they are kept like this, what will happen? Here, once again, here you can see all are mixed, right? Then what will happen? Obviously they are going to die. Okay, again they can't go next to next, right? They need some they need to breathe properly, and they should get penetrated also. Even so, penetration of roots will go deeper and deeper, no space will be, and sometimes both may get died, so all will die. So they will not do like this. There are some instruments, or how they have to sow. We'll learn about it also. First, the seeds that are sown in the soil that is loosened by a cultivator of a plow. This already we have discussed. Now we have to look at the quality of seeds. Quality of seeds is very, very, very important part before farming. That is the selection also, we can say. Quality is very important factor that will determine your crop yield. So first, selection of good seeds we're going to do with the activity. There is activity in your text, but here you can select which is nice, which is good, which is bad seeds. We can just Do it by taking a glass of water or bowl also, no problem. Fill it with water. Then what you're supposed to put the seeds inside it. Water. Now I'll change the color so that seeds will be determined like that. Uh, so seeds are put. I'm putting rounds for seeds. Some will float, some will sink. Okay. Let me say this is the floating part. Okay. This is my top, I will say. This is my top. Okay. Now what is going to happen? We have to see. The dead and damaged ones, whichever are dead and they are damaged, they are hollow. No, obviously they will float on top. So they're going to float. So here these are floating, right? Obviously those are floating. So they are bad seeds or damaged seeds. Now whichever are sinking down, they are sinking. So they are good seeds or nice seeds. Okay. So this is showing. Now let's look at the tools of it. So this is the picture. Traditional true tools also we have. That is first one. They used to have some like I'm showing a rough one. It will be like this something. Only one opening will be there and down some 3-4 will be there. Like pipes only they'll be there. Very small. Like 2-3 pipes will be there. At equal distance they will be pouring. They will be moving with the buffaloes or cows. Okay. Or oxes. So they will be one person will be there, one or two persons they will be pouring the seeds. One seed will go like this. They should move the obviously the animal will move it forward. Then those seeds will go inside. Now traditional methods are done. Now we have modern methods. We have seed drill that will save time as well as it is connected sometimes to a tractor. So backside one opening will be there. It will be connected to lots and lots pipes kind. Okay, it will be equal in distance. This traditional tool sometimes it may do mistake, but this will never, because very equally it will move. So this was about tilling and plowing. You can have a look on this. Now we shall look at the adding manure and fertilizers. We should add manures and fertilizers also. Why we should we add? Because without this crop won't grow properly. Normally it will take lot of time. If you put this manure and fertilizers, it will go a bit faster. So what is manure and fertilizers? Manures and fertilizers are the substances that are added to soil to increase their fertility. While manures are by decomposition of organic substances, fertilizer inorganic substances. So they are with what they are made also given very clearly. First, they are the substance added to soil to increase their fertility. First point. And second point is while manures are decomposition of organic substance, fertilizer inorganic chemicals. That's all. Very simple. Yes. Now we shall look at some of them. The next part, that is the differences between them. Fertilizer is the inorganic salt. This is there in your textbook also. Table 1.1 differences between fertilizer and manure, page number 7, same one. Okay, you can just copy down these points. Manure is prepared from organic matter. Fertilizers are manufactured in factories. Manures can be prepared in farms. Fertilizers are added comparatively smaller quantities. Okay. Manures need to be added in large quantity as nutrient content is less. So when you are adding this fertilizer, you have to add a bit. In a limit, they have to pour. But manure, you need to put lots and lots because nutrient content is less. No, that's why. Fertilizers do not provide any humus. Manure provide a lot of humus to it. Okay. So these are the disadvantages. Advantages obviously for growth of crop. Disadvantages, excessive more use of fertilizers only causes pollution. It can change the pH of the soil also. pH. Okay, that is, I think it's not there in the textbook. Okay, and it improves. Yeah. So when the land follow, when land is left like that only for a certain period of time, all the nutrients replenishes itself. So this land can be used for agriculture again. Okay, replenishes means again it will get back its nutrients. When after for some time, if you are not using, you will get back the nutrients. And this is some of the extra points. Nursery, what is nursery? You have nursery is a place where young plants and trees were grown. Okay, it is the respiratory of saplings. Germination, what is germination also you already know. Okay, that is sown first. So it happens when the seed is sown and in the land and it is watered. So plants start emerging. The process of germination also we have studied long ago. Okay, so the plant will start emerge from this seed and it starts to grow. So that is germination. Now the next one we have, that is irrigation. Sorry, what is irrigation? We should look at. So the supply of water to crop. Supply of water to the crop is called as irrigation. Clear? So at regular intervals, one more important point is this supply of water will be given at regular intervals. So that is also a very important point. Okay, next, so the time and frequency of irrigation varies from crop to crop, soil to soil, season to season. Okay, in water, what is in summer? Let's have example. In summer, what is the frequency of water? Obviously, the frequency in summer is going to be high, right? High, HIGH. Clear? So it will be varying. Now we shall look at about the sources of irrigation. So where all we get water, those are the sources of irrigation. Because what is the definition? The watering or supply of water to crops at regular intervals. So water only we are supplying, right? So that is also, the sources also will be water only, no? So the sources are wells, tube wells, and next we have ponds, lakes, many are there. Okay, so open your textbook and after listening to the class you can just read carefully. Dams also, canals, many. So where and all you get water, normally wherever water is there, those are the sources of irrigation. Now we shall look at the traditional methods and the modern methods of irrigation. First we should discuss the traditional methods. So what were the traditional methods of irrigation? First one we have is moat, M-O-A-T. So what is moat? Pulley system, you know, right? In the villages, when you go to your village or when you visit a village, they take water from the well using a pulley, right? That is the moat, pulley system. And secondly, we have chain pump. Chain pump. Clear? Chain pump. Next, here third also we have many. Third one, Dekli. DHKLI. Remember the spellings because it will be useful for your exams. Okay, and fourth one is Rahat. You should remember the spellings. Okay, and what is Rahat is, it's the lever system. Okay, hope it was clear. Now let's discuss modern methods. So presently we have, in modern, that is now future, we have sprinkler system and drip system. Sprinkler system is nothing but these are all important questions only, so I'll be explaining very briefly. Sprinkler is nothing but you will be having one field. I'm just drawing some rough diagram, you need not copy it. Here some well will be there, you have some motor connected to it, and you have the pipeline from the well also. Then this pipeline will go and sprinkle water at every crops, like it will go like a pipe system. So here again, there it will go and sprinkle water, this side sprinkling water. So this is called as sprinkler system. Now we shall look at drip system, drip irrigation. So spelling is DRIP. Here in these two methods there are no water, there's no wastage of water much. Okay, motor will be there, it will be connected first to the well, other one to the well, whatever it is there, that water will be taken and it will be going to each and particular place. It will be going, like suppose here one crop is there, here one crop is there, to their places it will go and distribute water. Like say your teacher is signing diaries, so she'll come to your place and sign. So that is like this. Okay, you are student here, your teacher is coming there, water. Okay, like that you have to imagine like that. Okay, it's not reality. Water will go there and distribute particularly there only, so no wastage of water, obviously, right? This drip system will be useful in the places where availability of water is very less. Okay, in that it will be good. Next we have protection of crop from weeds. So protection from weeds. What are weeds? First we shall discuss. So weeds are undesirable plants which naturally grow with the crop. So I can say undesirable plants grown with crop. With crop is called as weeds. It's called as weeds. Okay, so this is weeds definition. You can just copy, it's not that much tough. You have in your textbook also, I think. Yeah. Next, what is weeding we should study? Weeding is nothing but removal of weeds. Sometimes, why we should remove the weeds, you might think. We should remove weeds because to protect other important crop. Okay, see, it will also take water, sunlight, everything it will also take, so it will be a wastage by giving to it, no. So that's why weeding process should be done. It will also take all, no, that's why by using that. This is definition of weeding. Now we shall look at, so how do we remove? First is by human methods, like manually they will do it. First is manually, doing it manually, and second is they have some instruments. Manually how it is done is they have some kurpi. You might have seen, I'm drawing a rough diagram so that you will get an idea. One second. It will be like this, and here it is like this, sharp. They will hold here and they will remove the weeds like this. And one more thing we have is, weeds are also controlled by certain chemicals. Those are weedicides, and these weedicides do not affect the crop. Weedicides. So weedicides examples are 2,4-D. like they have given like in the textbook also. So these are sprayed, okay, to kill the weeds. They do not damage the crop. I have told you. These weedicides are diluted with water to extent required and sprayed in the fields with the help of sprayer. Okay, this is weedicides. And when while spraying the weedicides, while spraying, so while spraying, what you should have some uh, precautions also. You should take some precautions. While spraying, your nose and mouth should be covered. That is very important because spraying of weedicide may affect our health. So you should cover your nose and mouth with a piece of cloth or mask. You can do this. Mask. Okay. Now after all this last part, harvesting. Okay, harvesting. So what is harvesting? We should know. Harvesting is nothing but it is very important part, first main thing, and it is cutting of crop after it matures. Okay, so cutting of crop after it is matured. After it's mature. I am repeating the definition twice or thrice, so you can note it down, and I am writing on the board also. After it's mature is called as harvesting. Okay, so this is the definition of harvesting. Harvesting in our country is done by mostly by the manually also. It is the first manually only we should learn, no? Manually it is done by sickle. It is spelled this way, SICKLE, or by machine. One more machine also we have, that is harvester. The machine name only itself is harvester. Clear? And one more important point, in the harvested crop, the grain seeds need to be separated from the chaff. Chaff is like powder kind of thing will be there from the grains, so that should be separated. That will be done. That is called as threshing process. That can be done by threshing process. And another process is winnowing. Okay, now we have one more thing. This is carried out with help of machine also. That is called as combine harvester. Combine harvester. Clear? So which is in fact a harvester as well as a thresher. This combine is a harvester as well as thresher. Harvester and thresher both. So this combined harvester does both. Combined does both. Okay. Clear? Now winnowing also I told you. That is the separation of small holdings of land. Do the separation of grain and chaff by winnowing. Winnowing. I'll show the images also with definitions in the last. Clear? Now after harvesting, farmers will be very happy, obviously, right? So they make some festivals of harvest. Those are called as harvest festivals. So there are some harvest festivals. After 3 or 4 months of hard work, this comes the day of harvest. Right? They will be with joy, and they will be very happy also. Okay, so what are the festivals they are going to celebrate is, and the harvest season is in different places. This is called in different names, but whenever their harvest is there, they will celebrate. First one is Pongal. Second one is Baishakhi. This is also harvest festival. And third one is Holi. Next one is Diwali. Diwali is also a harvest festival. and it is Nabanya, it seems. There are some new festivals also. You have to learn this also. And one more is Bihu, Bihu. So these are all the harvest festivals. Completely I have given. Now, next, after harvesting, is it done? They are doing it on a large scale. So we should be very careful about the storing. Okay, storage of produce is an important task. If the harvested grains are kept for longer time, they would be safe from moisture, insects, rats, and microorganisms. So sometimes they will ask if it is not stored, what are the factors which will affect the crop? That is first one, the first factor which is going to affect the crop when it is not stored properly is moisture. This is very important points, these are which I am saying, that is one of the important question as well. Second is insects are going to attack on it. Third is rats also. And fourth is microorganisms. Clear? Microorganisms. So these are all the four factors which are going to affect crop when it is not stored properly. Clear? Yes. Now we are going to look on where it is stored mostly. So farmers generally store these grains. Grains they store in jute bags. I think you have studied in your chemistry last year that jute. Long ago. Sixth, I think so. Jute bags. Those are called as gunny bags, right? They are stored in jute bags or metallic bins. Metallic bins. Clear? These are the both in which farmers store grains. And a large scale of storage of grains, it is done in silos, SILOS, and granaries, GRA, once again, GRANARIES, granaries. Clear? To protect them from pests and rats and insects, I told you. Sometimes dry neem leaves, dried neem leaves are used for storing food grains at home. For storing large quantities in big gourd ones, specific chemical treatments are required to protect them from pests and microorganisms. Okay, this is about storage. Now we have one more part. Yeah, all is done. Now what is that one more part, you may be thinking? It is different from all. Animal husbandry, but a part of agriculture. What is this? You might be thinking. Wait, let's start. Animal husbandry. What is animal husbandry? So, rearing or taking care of animals for food. You eat non-veg. Some people, some of them eat non-veg also. No, rearing of animals for various purposes. What from animals? What you will get? Egg. You get milk from animals. All animals. You get cotton. Sorry. Cotton is a plant fiber. You don't get from an animal. Silk, from silkworm you get. And you get wool from an animal called sheep. And you get eatables and non-eatables also, right? These are not eatables. Silk and wool. And you get many things. I can't even say how many we will get. Okay. You eat meat. The meat is from animal only. Fish. And etc. Okay, there are many. Now, these for these all purposes, for our needs, for our needs, we should keep, we should take care, right? Without taking care, it would be dirty. Again, if you drink, you get some infections, etc., etc. So you should keep them. You will rear and take care of them. You should take care of them also. For our purposes, like eating or eatables or non-eatables, for that purpose we are rearing it. That is called as animal husbandry. Whatever process I told you, that is called as animal husbandry. Okay, I think this chapter is done. And one more point, we have to, we'll get from fish, first fish, and we get cod liver oil. I think you might be you might have heard this name, cod liver oil. It is one good source of vitamin D. Vitamin D. Okay, so this chapter is done. So chapter 1 is done. Okay, if you haven't subscribed to Vishwa Blooms, subscribe now and like, share and subscribe first. Okay, fast right now to Vishwa Blooms. Subscribe. Thank you all for watching our video.